Okay, so good morning. Even though it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon, it's morning for me. So my name is Kim Faber. I'm a registered nurse, a health coach, and a yoga instructor. My main focus right now is nursing, and I'm in the middle of working night shifts in the emergency room in Victoria, BC. But I just couldn't help but do this call for you guys today. And something I'm so passionate about is helping people with their health, hopefully before they ever get sick. But from what I've learned helping my friends and family, it's never too late to invest in your health. So I hope there's something you get out of this call today that you can take away to improve your health. I'm going to do a share screen, and I have a presentation that I'm going to share with you called Take Healthy Back. And just open PowerPoint. My computer might be a bit slow because I have so many windows open. Perfect. We're going to do a PowerPoint called The Healthy Living Revolution, because I feel like we are in the middle of people realizing that we have to invest in our health in order to make these changes to feel good. People usually make changes on their health because they want to feel better. So we'll go view slideshow. Yeah, perfect. So I'm going to just tell you a little bit about me. As I said, I'm a registered nurse, and I'm a fairly healthy person now before you today. But a few years ago, I wasn't so healthy. And it's funny, I didn't know that I wasn't healthy because I felt like as a nurse, you always think if you have two legs and a heartbeat, you're blessed. So I felt like even though I was on a lot of medication, I was still healthy because every problem I had, there was a pill for it. But in reality, when I look back, I didn't feel near as good then on medication as I do now off all those medications. I'll just tell you a quick bit of my story. Was that growing up, I had a lot of strep throat infections, and I was on antibiotics all the time. By the time I got into nursing school, those strep throat infections got worse and worse, and every year they would spread into my bloodstream and create more damage in my body. I'm sure there's going to be more research coming out on strep throat infections in the future, as there already is so many complications from them. But what led to me having more troubles with my health, I'm sure started from all those strep throat infections. By the time I finished nursing school, I had terrible teeth health. I grew up having not a single cavity, but then over the course of the few years after nursing school, I ended up having at least 8 fillings. And it actually, I'll share a bit more later of how that tied into my journey with getting healthy. But furthermore on that was that in nursing school, I started to get crushing chest pain and fainting quite consistently. There was a point in nursing school where I was fainting every single day. So I had a cardiologist, and I also ended up having to see a gastroenterologist because I also was diagnosed with a condition called gastroparesis, which is very slow digestion, and I would also get chronic stomach ulcers to the point where sometimes I would throw up blood. So to the average person, this is quite sick, but I managed my days. Even though I was throwing up every day, even though I was fainting, I still always was so blessed to have my life that I didn't necessarily know that there was anything I could do to change it. In fact, I always assumed that the healthcare system was going to sort it out for me. So I bounced around from doctor's appointment to doctor's appointment. I had all kinds of tests. I had a CT scan, I had an MRI, I had an EEG, I had so many ECGs, I had Holter monitors, I had event monitors, and I had so many blood tests. And all of this testing and all this running around, in the end I did get some diagnoses, but I never felt better. And in fact, it was just a vicious cycle. And so one day I was working up in the Yukon, and I was still on all those medications, but a friend had reached out to me about reading some research on a nutritional product she had just come across as a personal trainer. Somebody had been trying to tell her about this nutritional product for 5 years, and she was always telling them that she wasn't a supplements girl. So when she was finally going to give this supplement a try, she wanted a registered nurse like myself to read the research on it to let her know that what she was going to invest in for herself, her family, and her clients was worth her time. And that's how I found it. And what I did end up reading was a study on tooth health. And this study was a double-blind, placebo-based study where it showed that Juice Plus, the product that she was trying to introduce me to, had in fact improved the health of people's teeth. So even though I was sick, like I told you, on all those medications for those conditions, it was the study on tooth health that got me to invest in my own health. Because I had had a root canal a month before that in Europe with absolutely no freezing. And my mom had had poor dental health her life, and I thought it was just genetic, that I would end up with dentures at a young age as well. Reading this study let me believe that our genetics don't have as much control over our life as we may think, and that our lifestyle may have a bigger impact on our health overall. So at that point, I started to invest in my health. I made some simple changes, like I decreased the amount of sugar in my diet. When I went to the grocery store, I started to read labels, and instead of looking at calories, I started to look at the ingredients and seeing what was actually in my food. I can't recommend this enough. We need to be aware of what we're putting in our bodies, and we'll talk about that during this talk. And then the second change I made was adding those fruit and vegetable capsules from the Juice Plus company into my diet. And as a nurse, I was working long hours. I would work 60-hour weeks, sometimes 5 to 7 12-hour night shifts in a row. And I did that for 2 months. And that's when Juice Plus had come into my life at the perfect time. There's no way I could have managed all those shifts, because in the past, when I would work a week of overtime, I would spend the next week sick. This time, I had more energy than I'd ever felt, and I was sleeping better. And in fact, I started to go to the gym. And so a few years before starting Juice Plus, I had had an episode where I went to the cardiologist and I had to run on a treadmill. And I ran for a few minutes until I started to get a bit dizzy and I collapsed unconscious. So this led me to believe that because every time I ran, I would get this crushing chest pain, and sometimes I would faint, that I would never be able to be an adventurer, an athlete like I had hoped. I'd watch other people go to the gym and be able to work out, and I would be like, oh, I just need to get in shape. And I would push myself until I was just exhausted. And it wasn't a normal level of exhaustion, but I didn't know that at the time. So then when I started these capsules and started to go to the gym, I noticed that I didn't need my inhalers anymore. I just wasn't symptomatic. I wasn't having that chest tightness, and I wasn't having wheezing like I had needed inhalers to exercise since I was in junior high school. So this was amazing. I also noticed that I could run without having that extreme fatigue. And by the end of that month, I ran 5K. And this was just absolutely amazing to me. And I haven't ever been a runner since, but it just was that first moment of being able to run that I was so excited for. And since then, I started to travel a whole lot more. I was traveling before I was taking these capsules, but I was sick the whole time. I remember having head colds in Paris and stomach bugs in Bali, and I would always carry this big bag of medicine because, again, I thought where there's a problem, there's a pill. And I still traveled to like 20 some countries since starting Juice Plus. And it's just been amazing the difference of energy and health I feel while I travel. When you're traveling, sometimes I would just have a backpack for 3 months at a time. Being able to carry those capsules just was an insurance policy that if I couldn't get all my fruits and vegetables in that day, which rarely happens even when I'm not traveling, then I could get that nutrition and still maintain my health when I was on the road, which was just incredible. So I was able to start climbing mountains. And this is like where I found my joy in life, was that I love to summit mountains. And I started to even climb them by myself. So I just did a 3-week road trip, and the whole time, every few days, I was finding somewhere to go hike and just explore. And being able to fully live in my passion because I invest in my health has just been absolutely incredible. So I just love that this product, maybe you don't love hiking, but you have something else in your life that you really want to pursue. You absolutely need your health to have anything you love in life. And I realized that at a young age, at 21, when I was losing my health, that everything I wanted, all my goals in life were slipping away because I didn't know that if I invested in my health, I could live this passionate life. So I'm going to go ahead into this presentation. And I hope that there's some tips in here, something that resonates with you to help you out with your health journey. There's usually a video here just about taking Healthy Back, but it's not playing today. So we can just go right into the next slide. All right, so healthy living used to be simple. We used to get outside and grow our own gardens. We used to play outside. And we used to drink water often from the hose. We didn't drink so many soft drinks. And we used to have way more resting and sleep time. But now we have fast and convenient food. And we have a digital world, which takes a lot of us from connecting with nature and getting outside and moving our bodies with stationary life. And there's a lot of other options for things to drink, and people forget that water is our best option. And we work long hours, shift work, all kinds of things. Moms are balancing busy lives. Yeah, we're just tired people. So then it comes back to, how are you taking care of yourself? The best ways that I know are eating real food, exercising, drinking water, and sleeping 7 to 8 hours per night. The reason I say this is I love to compare our health to the health of a plant. And if you're trying to grow a plant, you give it water and nutrients, you give it sunlight, you really nurture that plant to watch it grow. But I don't think a lot of us are doing that for our bodies anymore. And we're running them to the ground and just hoping that they'll tough it out or that medicine can bridge that gap. And there's two startling trends in our world. Their environmental toxins are increasing. Could you agree? Even if you think of your daily routine with your cosmetics or your shampoo and conditioner, your lotions, there's some statistics saying there's thousands of chemicals we put in our body every single day. And then the quality of our food is decreasing. Just like I said, one of the biggest changes I've made in my life is starting to read ingredient labels. It's amazing when you look into your food what could be in it, or what we consider food isn't actually food. The other day I was in America and I wanted to get Wi-Fi so I could connect and let everyone know I was okay after my hike. The only place I could see was McDonald's, so I thought, well, I'm sure I could go in here and find something. I looked on the wall and I saw this poster that basically said, our food is cooked in things that cause cancer, and some of our ingredients may cause cancer too. And so we think that if it's sold on the shelves or in a store or in a restaurant, it's safe for our bodies. But we really need to start looking into, is that actually safe for us? Because you don't want to wait and eat something your whole life and 20 years later find a label on it that says, like, this is why you're sick. Another thing I've learned about in the last few years is oxidative stress and its link to poor health. So the way that I explain oxidative stress is just as simple as that apple exposed to air turning brown. That's because the oxygen has hit it and it's oxidized. Every day we're breathing, we're creating that same effect in our bodies, just usually silently on the inside. And it damages our DNA, which is really important to look at how we can invest in the health of our DNA. And then our food supply is decreasing. So, you know, like when you buy a strawberry in the grocery store and you cut it open and it's white on the side, or on the inside, it's nutritionally depleted. And the same with tomatoes. Lots of times, if you have a garden tomato and it's red and juicy, you know that's packed with nutrition. Whereas sometimes we have those tomatoes that were picked super early and then just brought to color with gases, and they taste like water. You're just kind of buying expensive fiber when you buy produce that isn't fully ripe. And so as our produce is decreasing in quality, we need to eat more servings a day. And if you think of that strawberry, you can't really qualify a strawberry that's white on the inside the same amount of servings as strawberries that are red on the inside, because you're counting that amount of servings to get you nutrition. But if they're completely nutritionally depleted, you need to have way more servings. One of the ways that I love to bridge that gap, and I'm so excited after 3 years to have a home again, is to have a tower garden, because then you can grow it till it's fully ripe in your home, and you're decreasing your carbon footprint because you're not driving to the grocery stores often to get produce. Then produce doesn't have to drive to come to you. There's been a big drought in California, making a produce kind of shortage and expensive produce, so it saves us so much money. It uses 90% less water and takes up 90% less space. what's good for us is that it grows 30% more and there's no digging or weeding. It's completely a water basin in the bottom filled with nutrients that trickles up and trickles down to water the roots of those plants. You can grow so many different things on there. You can grow like greens and zucchinis and cucumbers. You can grow strawberries and watermelons. You can grow herbs like dill, and you can grow mint. You can also grow flowers. So it's a garden that you can grow year round. You can have it outdoors in the summer, and there's grow lights. You can grow it indoors all winter. The other thing I had mentioned was the one simple change I made was these fruits and vegetables in capsules. And there's 30 whole foods when you go through the trio, which is absolutely amazing because I know, like I said, I struggle to even get my amount of servings of fruits and vegetables in. And I'm not the only one that has a few of their favorite vegetables and fruits and they stick to that. We don't get near the variety of it. And what I learned is that certain fruits and vegetables have different nutritional benefits to them. So, for example, onions have a phytonutrient in it that no other fruit or vegetable has that is amazing at fighting cancer. So if you don't get that variety every single day, you're missing out on a powerful nutritional effect. And then if you look at the kinds of fruits and vegetables that were put in these capsules, it's the ones that have the richest color because that's the ones that have the most compact nutritional benefits. Like a deep blue blueberry has a lot of antioxidants in it, and something that's really pale in color doesn't have as many. The color is concentrated nutrients. So you can see the variety that you would get if you took these capsules every day. The other point is that these capsules, the fruits and vegetables in them, were grown till they're fully ripe. And like I mentioned before, the importance of that means that you'll get more nutrition out of a fully ripe fruit or vegetable than you would not. And then the other thing is they use the pits, peels, and seeds in these capsules. So 80% of the vitamin C in an orange is found in the peel, but I've never eaten an orange peel. Sometimes I'll rub the orange peel on my teeth because I was told it would clean them and whiten them, but I've never actually eaten the orange peel. So it's great to know that I can get the benefits of eating the orange peel without actually having to do it myself. Another thing that's slowly coming out in the research, and by slowly I mean it's been published since 2009 at least, that they've looked into all the studies on multivitamins to say they're not absorbed by the body and they actually showed no benefit to people's health. So if you're taking a multivitamin, I want to say congratulations on investing in your health. That's a big step. But what I want to do is educate you on how you could better invest in your health, because I can tell if you're taking a multivitamin, you already want to do something for your health. So we're just going to switch it up a little bit and help you understand that multivitamin has just a few select synthetic nutrients. And they thought that if they megadosed the amount of, let's say, vitamin C that you would find in an apple and synthetically made it and then made a bigger dose of it, that our bodies would absorb it, but it's simply proving to not be true and possibly harmful. And so you don't need to get a multivitamin with a synthetic form when there's all these whole food supplements coming out that have whole foods in them, because you can see the amount of nutrients in that multivitamin and then you can see the amount of nutrients in that apple. I'm going to choose the apple. The other thing I love about this company is that they didn't just bridge the gap in our fruit and vegetable intake, but they realized there's a gap to bridge in the meals we eat in a day. I'm a busy person, not only with traveling, but 12-hour shifts. Sometimes you don't get a break. And so to have a shake on my desk that's going to provide me with nutrients throughout my shift and help balance my blood sugars is not only benefiting me, but it's benefiting my patients, because nobody likes someone with low blood sugar. They turn into a huge grump. So that's one of the biggest benefits of these shakes, is that they stabilize your blood sugar, which is going to decrease your cravings and increase your energy, but not give you an energy crash. So my grandpa is a diabetic, and recently we moved him to a new care home, and he hated his food, absolutely hated it, and he lost something like 20 to 30 pounds, and they were really concerned about him. But after starting those capsules, his health was completely transformed. So I thought, well, as long as he's healthy, and by healthy, he still has diabetes and heart disease and a pacemaker and heart failure and kidney failure. All those conditions are stabilized. He still has them. But what I mean is I want his quality of life to be good. I want him to feel good every day. And by feel good, just not have to just like lay in bed all day or be in pain. So for him to be able to bridge the gap in his nutrition somewhere where he would have had to have Boost or Ensure, which are just full of chemicals, that was really valuable to me, that these shakes are not only good for me for my working out and my shift work, but they're safe and good for my grandpa as well. And I love that moms will give these to their kids as a snack before school, and they find that their kids' blood sugars are more balanced throughout the day, or they can have them on a like in a shaker cup on their desk during school, the same as I get hungry during my shift. I'm sure kids get hungry during school too, and so having that nutrition for them is going to help them get through their day. The shakes are vegan, they're non-GMO, they're gluten dairy-free, they're plant-based protein, which is going to help decrease inflammation as opposed to a whey-based protein, which is going to increase your inflammation. And then they also have prebiotic fiber in there. One of the things the nutritionist noticed when she was looking at my grandpa after we started these shakes was that it had an amazing amount of fiber. And the more we look into the microbiome and our gut health, we're going to know that fiber is so important. So investing in your gut health is important. And like I said, there's so many uses for them. So finding a way to fit more nutrition in your day is going to help you out. And so if you had these capsules and these shakes every day, you'd have the benefits of 45 different plants every single day, which is only going to do amazing things for you. If you think of if you could eat 45 different plants every single day, it would do amazing things for your body. But this is to help people that can't do that every day. And if you can eat 45 different plants every day, I would love to see what you do, because I could use some tips on that. And then, like I said, they're whole foods. So they have a food label, not a supplement label. They're packed with phytonutrients, but naturally found ones in fruits and vegetables, non-GMO, dairy-free, gluten-free. Also, the capsules have just been changed to a vegetarian capsule, so they're vegan. They have an NSF certification, which is so important, as these capsules and shakes are used by all kinds of athletes, including Olympic athletes. And they're going to get drug tested, so they need to be reassured what's in the products that they buy is what's actually in them, and there's nothing added, which we should all care about in our products, not just because we're going to get tested, but just because we should know what's going into our body. So this NSF certification proves that there's no added fillers or contaminants, and what's on the label is what's in these bottles. And then the clinical research, which is how this product came into my life. And so there's over 30 published studies Juice Plus has, and it's the most researched nutritional product in the world, which is amazing. These journals are like the Journal of Pediatrics and the Journal of American College of Cardiology. They're incredible. And I love reading these journals and seeing what study they did, because they're a double-blind study with a placebo. So one group had the Juice Plus capsules and one group had capsules that were a placebo, and nobody in the study knew which group was what. And then they did tests on them to see not only are these capsules the nutrients absorbed in the bloodstream, but what effect do they have. And the just results were amazing. And once you have something that was placebo-based and you can see an insane difference between the group that was on the placebo and the group that took the product, you know that that result's duplicatable in anyone that takes that product. So the things that they found is that they improved cardiovascular wellness. One of the most amazing studies was that they measured the kind of diameter of the brachial artery, and they got them to eat a high-fat meal. And when the people took the Juice Plus, they found that that artery opened up 70%. And if you open up one artery 70%, the body is systemic. You're going to be opening up a lot of arteries more. And I love to relate that to traffic, because when somebody's having a heart attack in the emergency room, that's the best way I can make that analogy. So that's reduced blood flow. And so if you're driving in traffic and you open up 7 more lanes, that's 70%, right? 7 more lanes. Think of the amazing effects of that improved blood flow. And that's why I just love this product, is because we're all looking for ways to improve our health, and that's just amazing. It also supports the immune system. So I hadn't gotten sick in about 2 years of taking this product. I would get a cold and it would last half a day. And when I got sick, it was usually because I was taking care of somebody really sick in the emergency room, and I didn't have a chance to get proper protective gear on. Almost every time I've gotten any sort of bug while taking these capsules was I had direct contact with some sort of infection. Like the other day I got strep throat and I knew exactly where I got it. And in the past, like I said, when I got strep throat, I would end up on IV antibiotics and really sick. And this time, 3 weeks ago, I got strep throat, and it got really bad really quick. My throat swelled up to the point where I couldn't swallow even water. I couldn't swallow Advil or Tylenol. But then I realized if I had pudding and I put the Juice Plus capsules on it and swallowed it, that I could get them down. And so I probably took 20 capsules first day that I could get something down. And I started antibiotics because I just had to for my health. And the next day, I took a video of the day I was really sick and the next day after I got all those capsules in, and people could not believe that I could get better that quickly. And then I went on to work 60 hours of night shifts, feeling absolutely fantastic. And I used to be out for at least a month if I got strep throat before. So it doesn't always mean that you're not going to get sick. It just means that your immune system is going to be so much stronger to fight an infection. Improving the gum tissue, like I said, my teeth health was a mess. And so I invested in these capsules to improve my tooth health. And so far, so good. Reducing oxidative stress, which essentially means aging less faster, if that's a way to say it. Yeah. Whenever I'm recording a call and I say something weird, I'm like, this is going to be on there forever. And I might sound really stupid, but it's what it is. Reducing inflammation. Everyone knows what inflammation is. What you might not know is a lot of inflammation is silent until you're symptomatic. And so being able to invest in something that's going to reduce your inflammation long term is so key to good health. And like I said, protects DNA is so important. They found that you had less broken strands of DNA in your bloodstream. That just, if you look into the health of your DNA and why that's important, it'll blow your mind that you could invest in something that's going to make that big of a difference. And then healthier skin. I find that like my skin has cleared up so much since starting these products. And if I do get a pimple, which I still do, that they heal just so quick. And I know because like I said, I climb mountains, I can get massive scrapes and stuff from my adventures, and they heal way faster too. And then they also found in a study on like juvenile aged boys, I'm trying to think of the word to describe their age, but yeah, like just at that pre-puberty age boys, they had a group of boys that were having insulin resistance and abdominal fat mass, and they found that it improved both those things, like the abdominal circumference in these boys went down and their insulin resistance improved on these capsules, which was amazing. And increasing the quality of life and improving lung health in smokers. These are all things where we can't be perfect in life, but if we can invest in something that's going to help us with the damage that's happening every day, it's just incredible to have that. And that's why so many doctors and nurses like myself are passionate about sharing this product, is because perhaps you can't see a future of illness ahead of you, but working in the emergency room, and I've travel nursed to all kinds of communities, I've gotten to see so many trends in healthcare that just scare me to death. I'm almost going to cry there. I'm thinking of some of the patients I had in the last few years that reminded me of my parents. And I remembered nursing them just like they were like my mom or dad on that stretcher. And being able to know that I can do something for my parents so that I can delay that time where I'm going to have to take care of them one day, like I've taken care of all these patients, just means the world to me. And the difference I've gotten to make in my grandpa. And I can't think of anything better in the world than knowing that you could help someone you love that much. And so that's why I really share this, is because a lot of people don't invest in their health until they're sick. But if you could invest in your health now, it's so, so worth it. Because it's just no fun being on my stretcher in the emergency room. And then I know a lot of people struggle. Their struggle in life is their weight, and the education you can have around detoxing and losing weight is so important to your success with that. So like I said, we live in a really toxic world, and our toxins get absorbed into our fat cells. And our body does that to keep the toxins out of our bloodstream. It's doing it to protect us. But then what happens when you exercise and you try to burn that fat, without flooding your body with nutrients and fruits and vegetables is you concentrate all those toxins more. And I see people that try to get healthy by exercising, and I see them get sick. It shows up like colds, flus, inflammation, injuries, without flooding your body with nutrition while you're exercising, just a cascade of bad things can happen. So when you actually flood your body with nutrients, your body has like some toxins and it has all this like healthy blood flow. It'll pull those toxins out of the fat cells and your body's able to eliminate it, because your body's able to detoxify itself, but you have to be able to pull those toxins out of the fat cells and into the bloodstream and get rid of it to help your body out. So once you do that, you shed those toxins, then you can shed the fat, because your body's not going to automatically rebuild those fat cells to protect yourself. So if you ever look at my photos of doing Juice Plus, it was like 30-day intervals, and you can literally watch fat melt off my body just because I was detoxifying slowly over those 30-day intervals. And then also, like I talked about before, with that glycemic index, I'll try not to get too complicated with this, but there's that zone of willpower. So if you eat something that is high in sugar but not high in fiber, your sugar is going to go up and it's going to crash down. But if you eat something with a good amount of fiber in it, that sugar is going to be absorbed slowly and you're going to stay in that zone of willpower. It's just going to make you a happier, healthier person because you won't have that big crash in blood sugar. And then there's a program called Shred 10. And me and Anara on this call, we're going to be starting this tomorrow. And what it is just shedding the food, toxins, and habits that are not serving you. And it's a group of people that do it together, and it's fun. I'll share the next slide. Perfect. You add more real food into your diets. We give a cookbook and a shopping list and ways so that you don't feel like you're restricting what you're eating. You're just adding in so much good that you have no room for the bad. That's why we give you this guide. So you're not looking and saying, well, I can't eat gluten, dairy, or caffeine, like what processed foods, what can I eat? You'll have an entire book saying, these are amazing foods that you can prep, and some of them are so simple. There was like this pudding I made where I mashed up bananas, avocados, and then the chocolate complete powder, and it tasted better than a snack pack. So there's amazing recipes in here that are going to help you feel better because you're eating real food. You drink plenty of water, you sleep 7 to 8 hours a day, and you exercise most days. And then you do 2 of the shakes a day. And what I found was that over the winter, I had packed on a bit of a belly. And I think this is something that might come with aging, because I'm 27 now, and I started to get uncomfortable with it. And so I went to a talk by a person that developed this program, the Shed 10, Dr. Mitra Ray, and she said there is so many benefits to having that second shake a day. So I don't have 2 shakes every single day when I'm not doing the Shed, but I noticed that then over the last 2 months, my body has just shed toxins by having at least 1 shake a day, and I'm really happy with how flat my stomach is now. I also do no eating after 6 p.m. Breakfast is called break fast because you're supposed to fast every day for a certain amount of time, preferably when you're sleeping, because when you're sleeping, your body does a whole bunch of work for you. So if you can sleep at least 8 hours a night, you're going to help your body out. If you stay hydrated, that helps your body do that process even more. Not chug water before bed, but stay hydrated throughout the day so that your body doesn't wake you up in the night to drink water to help it out with that process of the healing and repairing at night. And then I like to adjust the eating after 6 p.m. Like some people, this is probably designed for people that are going to be able to go to bed at a reasonable hour and then wake up at like 5 or 6 in the morning so that they get a 12-hour fast. So I'd recommend, if you're doing this program, just find a chunk of 12 hours where you're going to be sleeping that you can do the fast. Like I said, they give you so many resources, and I love that this is a community. So there's Facebook groups you can join and inspiration you can have. We do live and online educational events. Earlier today, Dr. Du Bois went on the Healthy Living Revolution website, and he did a live episode of wheat belly and the effects of gluten on our bodies. We also have an ambassador children's program, because to get your family on board, you should get them involved. And so there's an amazing way to get kids involved in making these healthy changes. It is so cute when the kids grow the tower gardens, and they might not have touched kale before, but because they grew the kale, they actually want to eat the kale. There's funding for actually the Boys and Girls Club. Every single Boys and Girls Club in North America can get a tower garden for free. So if you're watching this call and you know of a Boys and Girls Club, just talk to a Juice Plus representative and they can help get a tower garden in that Boys and Girls Club for free. There's so many good things that they do. Schools can get funding from different places to get tower gardens in the schools, because there's a whole curriculum developed for teachers already where they can use the tower garden in the schools. So it's just cool. I'm looking at my tower garden as I say this, but I realize you guys aren't looking at a tower garden right now. But there's just so many ways to get your whole family involved in these healthy changes. And so just to summarize it, like if you want to do the Shred 10, the starting package is like you can add in whatever you would like. I wholeheartedly believe in doing the trio and the shakes together. You get that benefit of 45 plants every day. And if you're looking to feel better and you want to look awesome this summer, it all starts with investing in your health now. And so if you start with simple changes now, before bikini season officially hits, you don't need to try and do any of those drastic changes that are going to have a negative impact on your health. Oh, I almost wouldn't have mentioned this if I didn't have a slideshow, and it's one of my favorite things. They did a children's health study, which means that they give Juice Plus away to children and university students for absolutely free with an adult order as long as they participate in this study. And they did it so that they could collect data on the impact that Juice Plus has. And so just like the changes I experienced where I'm taking less medications, the kids experience that too. They miss less days of school. Adults miss less days of work. We visit the doctor way less. We consume less fast food and soft drinks, because when we start to crave good food, we don't go to the fast food places as often. We drink more water. We're way more aware of our health. And 96% of people experience a benefit of some kind. And so, yeah, we just want to extend this invitation to you to join us in taking healthy back. We know that this impacted our lives, and through this call, I hope you could see my heart and how this impacted everyone I have shared it with life. And so if there was something that resonated with you in this video, I hope you get back to the person that shared this video with you. I'll go ahead and I'll end the recording now. I just have to wait for the app to open back up. All right, have a great day.